First off, thank you, ChatGPT, for giving me the title of this video. Appreciate that. Second off, Vlang or how I learned even open source communities can operate as fascist regimes. One day, as my stomach began churning from spending another 30 seconds of my life waiting for an incremental compilation of a change to a single character in a string, I started to recognize a horrible taste developing in my mouth. Okay, so I feel this. Whenever I'm doing any sort of server website thing going on, this happens, and like I make one small change. So one thing I've always been doing is I never make changes to the main file. I always... Right away, the main file calls a singular function that starts the program. Like, the main file is like one line, and that's it. And that helps kind of reduce it down a little bit, but man, it is still so slow. I understand the taste in the mouth, okay? This Rust programming language I was using, which I was previously enjoying, was instead causing me physical pain. Yes! Love this. What a great, the energy of this article is incredible. It's incredible. I mean, I get it though. When you are compiling and linking is so slow and so painful sometimes, it just makes you feel so angry. Things changed when I finally acknowledged the enormous unnecessary complexity of the language. Want to create a string? Easy, just use string or stir or perhaps vec8 u8 or a slice of u8. There's actually quite a few more. Did you ever see that meme of C versus Rust string? Let's see if they have it. Let's see if I can just find it right off the rip. Come on. Yeah, there you go. Like, look at this thing. Is it a reference to a stir? Is it a string? Is it a slice of U8? Is it a slice of U8 with the length? Is it a vec of U8? Is it a reference U8? I'm not sure about that one. What the hell's that thing? Is it an OS string stir? Is it an OS string? Is it a path? Is it a path buff? Is it a C stir? Is it a C string? Is it a static stir string? This one and this one is kind of like the same thing. You know what I mean? They're not really different. You know, you're kind of getting away. But still, this is a lot of string. No, this cannot be real. This is real. Okay. This is real. This is what happens when a language is very safe. What about Boxster? Missing. Where's my box? What about my RC stir? My RC stir. Yeah, because remember RCs? RC stir? Remember how like fast that was? We talked about that arc stirs on that one, that one video. You can have much faster string passing around and copying by using an RC or an arc. Rookies. All right, anyways. Want to do the most common thing you would probably need to do with these types and convert between them? Best of luck. Well, there's just a lot of cloning. I understand why these distinct types exist and how they provide safety and predictability for their use cases. That's usually the trade-off you're making. But being given so many similar things without a consistent way to use them feels wrong and slowed my progress towards becoming a better programmer. I initially started using Rust because the internet was abound with claims of memory safety, things which are ironically and sadly null points, when most external dependencies are riddled with unsafe blocks. Is that I don't know if that's true, right? I don't know about this whole thing right here. By the way, I have recently, we're going on a tangent for a quick second. I recently had somebody tell me, wrong. See, Greg, thank you, Greg. Greg Leptos, Greg, appreciate that. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel right because most libraries I've seen, I haven't seen, but I got to go on something here. So typically, whenever I read something on the internet, I say, hey, I don't know if this is true because I don't even know, right? Like, how would I know this to be true? I haven't done I haven't examined the top 100 Rust crates and found out if this is true or not. Last time I did this with Ruby on Rails, and I said, hey, I just don't even know. We were watching a video. Guess what? Someone made a tweet saying that it's my responsibility to not make videos if I don't know. I have to know everything. And that I was spreading misinformation. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know. Like, I just don't know. Ruby off Rails. I'm not going to know every answer, okay? It's just a fact of life. But Greg, appreciate you. I'm very curious about this article, though, because it seems exciting. These dependencies often bring in their own by the hundreds and are pretty much required in doing any of the higher level things. Okay, I mean, the second part's definitely true in the sense that every Rust project underneath the sun has Saturday. Okay, it has Saturday just on. It there is definitely the list of things. that exists in every Rust project that has been compiled. Like the heat death of the universe is going to be caused by compiling Serde, okay? It's just a fact of life. Okay, return to monkey. That's all. By the way, cargo is implemented nearly the same as NPM. Yeah, but it's way more convenient because it can build, you know what I mean? If procedural macros were easy to work with as declarative macros, I would be a happier person. I hardly doubt there are more than 20 people in the world that actually know how all the internals of proc macro system work. Now, this is actually a fair statement. I agree with this statement. It's one of the reasons why Zig is so dang beautiful. You know what I mean? Zig is so dang beautiful because it has comp time. And comp time is like procedural macros for the dummies. You know what I mean? It's just really, really nice. It's just really, really, I just love it, okay? Zig mentioned, let's go. The amount of people that fully understand all the internals of the Rust language itself at this point is probably zero. Complexity is a backdoor and can be misinterpreted as sophistication. I do like this. I do like the statement that Rust has grown in complexity, and I think it is a very difficult language to know everything about Rust. I think that if you were to work in a large Rust project, you'd be like in a continual mode of discovery for quite some time, which is a very appealing thing as well. Like, I think that that's a good thing for a language to be deep, but it's also a bad thing because I think you just have more ways to shoot yourself in the foot. And lifetimes always will suck. Okay, it's a leaky abstraction. I wish it weren't so, but it's always that way. I do think OCaml got it right. I honestly think that OCaml got it right. That's why I want to learn OCaml. That sounds great to me. Never gets boring. Yeah, exactly. I think OCaml truly got it right. Let's go. You know why? OCaml mentioned. I know OCaml already. The reason why I think OCaml got it right is that they have those 3 identifiers or 4 identifiers, whatever it is. I haven't used enough to be super understandable of exactly how it all works, but I do know that I know how it works, just not how to use it. That you're able to specify the locality of the variable so it can be stack allocated, and you can specify the lifetimes, and if it's a use once, if it's mutable, all that kind of stuff. And so that allows you to have almost exclusively the same safety measures of Rust, just with instant compile times and only opt-in, and there's no lifetimes. Like it's truly really it's absolutely incredible. So GC on Crack, well, it's GC plus you can kind of specify and help hint it into not needing to be GC'd. Like, oh, this is a stack-only one. It should only be allocated once, right? It has a bunch of super cool things built in, especially around file handles and all that. It's very impressive. OCaml 5 is going to be very impressive language. I actually think it's going to be worth learning. Faux show. Faux show. All right. Also, I don't remember where I read this, and I only mention it due to its absurdity. Another thing I saw Rust lauded for in an online article, no doubt drafted indirectly by its foundation. Okay, anyway, dunking on the foundation. Okay, that's a +1. Is the Rust performant behavior was power or saving power, making it a green language? Well, if again, my just initial gut reaction counter argument is that if everybody compiles Serde, is it a green language? I mean, really? Is it? I am not sure if you are well versed in recognizing horseshit, but anyone that tells you anything is green or restoring the planet other than a biodiverse permaculture farmers are giant horses lifting their tail right above your all-too-receiving head. No. Farmers don't spread hype-fueled propaganda because they're too busy doing important things. This beautiful sentence. Beautiful sentence right there. Beautiful sentence. Boom goes the dynamite. I mean, this is very hilarious. All right, all the computation required for compiling the simplest GUI, along with the CI utility utilized everywhere, even for the repositories that don't justifiably need it, is probably consuming more energy than the LED streetlights of every combined city on this planet. Fair take. Fair take. This right here is probably a fair take. But I mean, I think the inverse is that let's just play this out logically in our head. The inverse would be that you have a programming language that is decently easy enough to make fairly fast, okay, 50 times faster than JavaScript. Therefore, if you have a billion people use the thing, you get a very large combined savings there, right? So it's like, the trade-off is not 1-to-1, right? You could just because the creation, one would argue that the creation is probably not as big as the use if it is. So just use Golang. Golang would be the more appropriate usage. You're right. Golang would be the win here. If you allow yourself to believe articles like the one I just described, you are falling one step behind in life every time you do. There are thousands of articles spread across the internet, search engines filled with tiny plush crabs, which have nothing to do with code, and levels of praise that I now find highly questionable. Eventually, the language experienced a legal overthrow by corporations that would undoubtedly try to imprison anyone attempting to even mutter the word Rust without their consent/approval. Tens of thousands of car detailers across the globe justifiably didn't give a series of stuff. Okay, so this must be a jab at the Rust Foundation. Okay, so what's the thing? What's the thing we're trying to get at here? Because I do want to know, I do want to actually understand the crux of the argument. Okay, so we're kind of getting away like, hey, hype's too high. We got that. We get that. The foundation, probably a little too tight-gripped, also comes from Mozilla. Mozilla has a huge history of just making really intense things, right? This is not their first rodeo. This is not their first time being in some dubious water. All right, I started to use this language, actually the first language I properly learned, because of two things. Its tooling made it really easy to install and get going. This is a great part about Rust. I absolutely love this part. I would say it feels slightly better than Go's. Go's is pretty good, but it just feels better than Go's. It just does. Because when you go get and you have to go like I'm never going to remember the GitHub address, right? I'm just not going to remember it, but I'm going to remember Tokyo. And so I like that feeling, right? I like that, but I totally understand its implication, which one thing that makes Go really great is that you always rely on some sort of versioning system as your form of hosting. So there's not some central repository like Crates.io. And so I like that. I like that. Developing it in it was actually fun, if not time-consuming. Yeah, developing Rust is a great time. I like programming in Rust. Rust is a great time. However, I'm not a fan of the threats made against people trying to share educational knowledge, and I am definitely not for corporations that fire their underpaid laborers for being sick. I felt contributory to these external things by continuing to use the language, so I scraped all my Rust projects and started looking for a different language to use. I don't know about this one. Is this a reference that I don't understand? Is there like a reference here that I'm not understanding? I know Rust can import repos, paths, and all that, but their main thing is that they use Crates.io as like their main one. I don't really understand this reference right here. I felt, let's see, okay. Some of the people I can find ways to separate to these concerns. I cannot. Please note, despite everything I've just said, I don't think Rust is a bad language at all. People who make such claims, especially those who are novice programmers such as myself, are idiots. Okay, I actually really like this. I think Rust is a great language. And so so it sounds like, okay, so the crux of his problem is that he does not trust the foundation. Okay, that's fair. I think that's a fair claim, especially if you're trying to create Rust learning content and all that. Remember, the guy who just created Rust for JavaScript developers just got a lawyer from Oracle saying take down the site because it contains the word JavaScript and we did not approve it. The same thing will happen with Rust once all this thing goes through. To think that it won't happen, you're just kind of nuts. Of course it's going to happen. Anything with the word Rust in it, that's in the website title, they're going to take it down. They have very strict rules. This is a real thing. This already happens with JavaScript, and to think it won't happen elsewhere, it's just kind of foolish, right? It's just simply foolish. Rust gives us an awesome and usable approach for safe manual memory management. Agreed. It's great. Its compiler manual doesn't feel quite so manual. It's not quite manual. I wouldn't call it quite manual. It's kind of semi-automated. Its compiler error messages are still better than any other language I've used. Absolutely. I really enjoy learning it. The Rust book is extremely well written. It can be really fast, but most importantly, it was a project I initially developed by people with a passion to create safer, better system/internet. Yeah, it's great. In fact, I liked it too much, which is probably why I'm so upset. I think this is a very natural feeling. When you really, really like something, like perhaps a little too much, and then you feel kind of jabbed in the back by something, it is really hard to separate it out. Like, it is really, really hard to separate that out. You know what I mean? What I don't appreciate is how it was/is being perpetuated through discourse/online media as a solution to everything. Whenever I notice such behavior, it's normally because I'm trying to be sold something. Now, yeah, you're trying to be sold safety. Come on, dog. It's safety. I think my general rule of thumb is that when it comes to a CLI, I really like Rust. I really like Rust. Rust is really, really nice for a CLI. It's just all. I love the string processing utilities. I think it's just a fantastic language. Go is also really good. Go is also really good. Go is my other one. Hold on, I gotta do this. Sorry, I just gotta do this. Everybody, here, you're gonna get out. Okay, file, get out. Okay, I've watched you over and over again. Hey, if you don't like how I select a word, that's fine. You can say, hey, I don't like it. But if you're going to do it like 19 times over and over again, come on. Hey, come on. Hey, come on. Come on. Don't do that. Hey, come on. Hey, come on, bro. Hey, come on, bro. Come on. Hey, come on. I'm just going to have to get you out. First off, Karen, I want you to add something to the rule book, okay? If someone says bruh to me, I want you to get them out the old-fashioned way. Yeah, exactly. Bathroom ramen onto the keyboard. And then throw the laptop out the window, okay? You know what I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about, Karen. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not your brow. Okay, well, hold on. Another easy ban. We're just going to get this guy out because I don't care what he has to say. We're just going to do that, okay? It just makes life easy. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to make life easy. It just makes life easy because if you don't because, you know, the guy's going to be like, dude, I'm joking. What I was saying, it's a nothing burger. She's like, I don't want to. Twist his dick off. Yeah, we're going to twist the dick off. All right. Now that I am trying to be sold and why, I don't have the answer to that and I'd rather not find out. Okay. I think these are actually fair things is that Rust was very hyped. I think there's things that are really, really great. I still think Leptos is such a fantastic library. I absolutely love it. Leptos 5 has made everything easier. You don't have to pass these little contexts around. There's so many good things about it. Absolutely think Greg is a champion. If you don't know anything about Leptos or that, you should strongly check it out. It's really, really, really great. I absolutely like it. It's full stack framework. Okay, you can call it full stack framework. I use it just as a server-side renderer and HTMX on the front. I love it. I absolutely love it. Now I have to ban Greg. Now I have to ban Greg the old-fashioned way. Thanks, Greg. But really, it's HTMX plus Leptos plus Axum or Actix, whatever one you like. It's fantastic. It's a great experience. It's a great experience. Let's see. At the time, many interesting newer languages were in the earlier stages of development and didn't have enough tooling or stability for what I needed it for. I wanted something compiled, less complex, and more subjectively readable. In retrospect, I should have just learned OCaml. He knew. He knew. Okay? He knew. Lisp or C, or another established language. V claimed itself to be many things, including 3 primary things I was searching for. Yeah, V is kind of interesting because I know there's a lot of doubt and skepticalness around V. I'm curious if it's better because, again, when I tried V a year ago or about a year and a half ago on stream, I built a doubly linked list and the generics could not be specified to build a simple node class. Like, it was not ready yet. They said they fixed that. Great. But nonetheless, that, like, to me, that says, hey, we're not ready yet. You've never heard of V? Yeah, V looks cool. It looks like Go. Right? Anyways, now, I don't take part in the online communities of any kind, but for some reason I do not fully understand. I decided to join the V Discord channel. On the surface, everyone there seems very pleasant, open, and inviting. If you have any experience on this planet, you should shame me for not having the foresight to predict something may be amiss. Oh, may have been amiss. Oh, no. Is this also crapping on V? See, I thought this was going to be like V-Lang being the savior and Rust being fascist. Are we about to have the double turnaround here? Are we having the double turnaround right now? Did Jippity lie to us? One day, a user came into the channel with a screenshot from V's Telegram channel claiming they were unjustifiably banned. He was very upset and frustrated about being banned without being given a reason, and seemingly without good cause. After reading the message, I'm going to do this. Please don't make me upset. Here we go. Hello, VCore team. I just got kicked out of the Telegram channel by Alex for stating that Go is more suitable for microservices than V. Before this, the day before, I showed that the V author is cheating with RPS in the V web, claiming that he has 28K throughput or 28K per second, something like that. Although on my VPS it was only 2, and other people, even more powerful servers, had 5 to 7. I see your community. You can only praise the language. I mean, I will suggest. So one thing to keep in mind here that's probably missing. So I'm just gonna try to put some fairness on this, which is that going to a languages Discord and being like, you should just use Golang instead. Like, you know how many times they probably get that? You know how many times they probably get that? It's probably super annoying. And so they probably just, just like how that guy in chat said what he said, and I just banned him straight up. It's because, you get it enough times, you just kind of know what kind of person you're about to have. So, is this completely unjustifiable? Probably not. I'm just letting you know from a different perspective. Different perspective here. Shortly after, nearly everybody in the chat began dismissing his claims, stating that he was making no sense and utilizing other manipulatory circular rhetoric to belittle him, anger him further, and subvert the subject. One person actually analogized. What word is this? Do I not know how to say this word? This word is all W. Is it my brain, like... Analogized. Is it analogized? Analogized. Am I just saying this wrong? It's analogy. Yes, it's analogy, but I don't know how to say it in this way. Analogized. Analogized? Is that a word? Analogized? It is. Well, damn. Analogized. Analogized. Okay. Sounds fake. Sounds fake news. Analogize the community to North Korea in defenses of it. Okay, maybe I'm not reading this correct, but typically you would never want to be on the side that says you are like North Korea, right? For any reason, right? Like typically you just don't want to be on that. Even if North Korea does something great, I would be very questioning what I'm doing if it lined up with the values of North Korea, right? I'd be like, whoa, what has happened in my life? What have I done with my life? I felt a strong sinking feeling in my stomach. While this is just an online chat room, the base operating patterns of a community define it. When such societal patterns become accepted in any community, they are more easily viewed as acceptable behavior in other areas of life. Yeah, this is like your typical kind of, this slippery slope fallacy, but it's a fair critique, right? If you feel like you can act one way online, it's inevitably going to slowly bleed into your real life. But this is classic, right? This is like classic Jesus right here. Out of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? Yes, I'm not saying that Modern Warfare probably had worse things going on in it. Modern Warfare 2 lobbies are just Modern Warfare today has worse lobbies than whatever is occurring here. Soon afterwards, the content was removed without notice of redaction and the user was banned. When questioned by one admirable user in the chat who removed the messages and why, the only response received was from a moderator who stated that they couldn't even say who was capable of doing that. People continued their conversation as if nothing occurred. It's kind of a nothing burger. I think it's more just annoying. I get it. A general rule of thumb is that I think when I read the stuff that's happening right here, it's just like a better way to go about it is that if you feel like there is some sort of misleading on someone's stuff and you feel strongly enough to go into the chat room and start arguing about it, it might just be better to start looking it up and testing it yourself. Look at any of the projects. How are the projects done? How are the projects measured? And then maybe try to help shape it or say, hey, I went through all of your stuff. Here's the things that I feel are wrong. Could we make these fixes? Could we do something that, could try to be maybe a slightly more positive force in this because if you're a positive force, you typically aren't looked at as like a big jerk, and you don't get banned, and then you don't make these huge scenes, and then articles like these don't really exist because you just took a little bit different of approach. And I think that will always be a better way. And if you don't care enough to do like the legwork to prove someone is incorrect, then maybe you don't care enough to make a scene. You know what I mean? Like, why does it matter if you're not willing to put in a day worth of like investigating something? I don't know if they could do this out of fear, ignorance, or some insane sense of communal superiority, but I do know that during those attacks, multiple people claimed that there was no leader of the Vlang and that it was a community. I thought back on human history and the gut rot I felt with Rust, and I knew I had to get out of there. Poor Rust. Okay, a lot of Rust communities are fantastic. I'm just going to be real here. There are some community members of Rust that are genuinely some of the nicest, greatest people you'll meet. And so it's hard to put it in the same bucket. V is a much more niche group of people, so maybe it's a little bit better to kind of put it in that. But Rust is a much larger community. Blink twice if you're under duress. I know I'm complimenting Rust, okay? Because Rust is not its leadership, okay? The Foundation is a much different group. The Foundation doesn't even represent the project leads, right? There's several groups within the thing because it's big enough. You know what I mean? I removed most of my messages in the Discord because I did not want to support a community that utilizes such totalitarian tactics to manipulate and control its members so freely and without any opposition from its other members, which is real concern here. One thing that I share was educational article I made years ago entitled, "What is a Computer?" The document is simple overview of what a computer is and how they operate. Alex M., the leader of the V community, took the article and put it in an extremely makeshift repository with my article as it's the only real content. I previously did not mind sharing educational knowledge, but after witnessing this happen, I did not want my words associated with these people and whatever their unknown mission is. So I politely asked him to remove the article from the repo. This is the resulting conversation which got me banned from the Discord and subsequently wiped from chat history. Determine for yourself what's going on. Please rebase repo with my article removed. Why? Okay, this maybe a little bit more context is always good. I don't feel comfortable being a part of an open source community that reshapes its message history without taking accountability for it / acknowledging it happened, particularly when the person that started the conversation was clearly making an idiot out of themselves. He was even on team. That guy was acting like an idiot. Okay, so, I mean, that's the type of censorship. This guy is definitely a freedom guy. I mean, I understand both sides. I feel like that type of censorship, even if the intent is to clean up message board, is dangerous and makes me feel extremely uncomfortable being a part of the community. So I don't want my work associated with it. That's just cleaning up trolls' messages. Simple moderation. What's wrong with that? We don't get that many trolls anymore. I don't think it happened over the last year. I don't think you'll find a single open source community that doesn't moderate its forums and chat. It's true. It was more so what's our inquiry in the VChat being dismissed than actual deletion of the messages. That's pretty transparent. We have few rules. I didn't see that message. I didn't read every single message here. Besides, it was obvious. It was removed by a moderator. What else could have happened? Perhaps in the future I feel differently, but at this time I would just like the article removed. He also got a response from a moderator, so it wasn't dismissed. It has been 7 hours since my request. I'll take the nicest stance I can right now and assume you think this conversation is still happening and you are waiting for my reply to take action. Removing the content in a manner which leaves no trace that it ever existed is not obvious in its antithesis of transparency. A moderator did reply, but the response was stating that he wasn't even capable of stating who was accountable for the removal or why it occurred. So it is kind of funny. Okay, just a moment here. There is something funny about asking for a rebase remove and totally removing himself from something because they removed someone, in some sense, a Discord rebase of it. You know, like there is something kind of there's something a bit offset here that I feel like happening, which is, in a sense, he's asking for what he does not like or thinks should not happen. So in the online community, he wants to have a series of all the things that have, happened that you should keep around these stuffs, but asking for himself to be removed. Like, why the special case? I don't understand the special case under this. I don't get it. And I think the tone, the tone could have been a little bit better. Maybe a little bit longer of a response right here. I think could have been really nice. Just like, hey, I've been feeling kind of uncomfortable and I'd like my, if you just make it kind of straightforward in a way that everyone can kind of agree with, you might have got a different response. I'm not exactly sure how I would have gone about it. I would have definitely taken a nice little night's sleep. That's always a good move. Sleep on things. Since BBSSs have existed 40 plus years ago, and it has been common social practice to provide a notice of any redactions or a reason to anyone being banned from a platform, even if that reason is simply 2 words, stop trolling. However, the person that posted seemed to have a legitimate concern in the question as to why they were banned. His opinion was just diluted through his anger. His expression of frustration at such a situation, assuming his screenshot and claim of being banned were truthful, can hardly be considered trolling. At this current moment, you are refusing to remove any of my content at my request, which was put in a repository without any license, which legally implicates that you claim to be the copyright owner of my work. That is direct plagiarism and the exact opposite of sharing community. So, also not necessarily not a great way to get things going here. By refusing to comply with my request, you are putting the language at risk of legal action being taken against it for something frivolous as an educational article that doesn't even have to do with the language. If you are the leader of this community, then it is horribly dangerous leader, because if anyone here does receive income from being a contributing developer to this language, you are putting their income at risk for no other reason than I can see other than personal pride. I will ask once more to remove my article from the repository. And this is that request. Yes, the copyright does work that way, but it is quite hostile. I do agree with that. It is pretty hostile. I would be... this whole thing just seems like a cluster festival, right? I bet you there's a lot of people that have done some things right. We probably don't have the whole story. Do I feel bad for a lot of the people involved? Even Vlang guy, Alex M., he's probably, he has to trust his mods are making the right decisions. Like, I can't review every single ban. I just have to assume, right? I just have to assume that people are making the right decisions. And so my general natural first stance is that I just side with my mods, even if I don't know why. Just because I first have to start there. You know what I mean? And then from that, I will go, I will then try to figure out what happened. And if I think something wasn't good, I'll kind of, then reverse it. So I totally get his stance. Because, when you deal with it a lot, it's hard not to. It's really, really hard. Despite the fact that I stated that the article needed to be rebased and the repo is essentially serving little purpose other than plagiarizing my work, he merely removed the file from the repo with a second commit, intentionally leaving my content in the Git history. Apparently, another user found my request reasonable and asked Alex M. again to rebase the repo. And his response was, I think he wanted a repo to rebase. The file can still be seen in the commit history, or implement a time machine so that it's never been there. Interesting. Okay, so he just doesn't want to do it. Okay, so that's what we saw here. He just he doesn't want to do it. All right, to be clear, I did not threaten any legal action against him. By refusing to comply with my request, you are putting the language at risk of legal action being taken against it. It's pretty close. In the old mob movies, this was actually like a pretty common mob practice. Perhaps other prominent people have also taken part in this, but typically you'd have the Don call, and he'd be like, "Hey, how's the weather? Oh, the weather's good? Okay. How's the family doing? Okay, the family's doing good. Okay, I'd hate there to be bad weather. Okay, take care." Right? That's a tacit threat. / that's tacit authority given to whoever is on the other side of the phone. Right? The guy's like, "Look what I just did. It's the Don speaking. I have access. He's just letting you know. Weather could be bad at some point." Right? Just saying. It's strange to say that. I simply say that his actions were putting himself in a potentially bad situation for seemingly no reason other than pride. True. Syntactically true. To be fair, syntactically true. I personally do not believe in this concept of justice and find it very... Okay, hold on. I personally do not believe in the concept of justice. But in some sense, you are demanding justice. I'm confused. I'm riddled with confusion at this point. And I find it varies a little from the concept of revenge. It's actually significantly different. I have, however, used the tools currently available to file a DMCA request against the repo to hopefully prevent my content from being related to them. When I shared my educational article, I stated that I did not need attributions of my name/handle in the article, but I by no means gave anyone permission to upload my work into a repo with proprietary licenseless. Yes. That'd be licenseless. Licenseless comes with a strict licensing by default. So in the wake of all this, if you do not practice permaculture, it may be beneficial to ask yourself the question: am I a decent person? This is taking a rabbit hole. I did not expect this turn. Okay, I did not expect this turn at all. I did not expect it. We got to retitle this one. So much lacking of self-awareness. I know it's a little. I'm having a hard time trying to understand this, in the sense that, I mean, justice and revenge are very, very different. Second, I mean, you are pursuing justice-based behavior. Like, justice is one of the few things that separates us out from animals. It's an important concept. I'm shocked right now. I'm shook. I am shook. Anyways, if you have already answered that question, you may be incorrect. Am I a decent person? I am not a decent person, okay? For those that don't know, I do not consider myself a decent person. I don't know if I can consider myself a decent person. Acceptable, perhaps. Societally acceptable. But when I meet people like I did in this community of V programming language, I felt relieved that I, at the very least, was not like them. So there is so you may not be a decent person, but you're at least not that guy. I mean, I'd always be careful with this kind of thought process, again, because then you're kind of just sugarcoating it, because now you kind of said, well, these are the real bad guys, and I'm not a good guy, but I'm not a bad guy, right? Careful about this. This kind of thought process can be tricksy for you. I felt relieved that I, at the very least, was not like them. Mind you, there are most definitely good people in that channel who did not express or endorse such acts. My previously stated gripes in no way represent them. The first two languages that I really got into have unfortunately been disappointing experiences, primarily due to the entities/communities related to them. What I learned, though, is that I don't particularly care if a language is the fastest or has clean syntax. Milliseconds of computation time and pretty symbols are no trade-off for my soul. Now, I think something that's really, really, really important that maybe is missing in this entire article here is that you'll always be disappointed meeting your heroes in some sense. I'm just throwing this out there. Like, you fell in love with Rust the language and found out that it was ran by people. Right? You fell in love with V and found out that it was ran by people. And it's real. It is absolutely real. True. Wait, what? I'm going to the Primogen's house next week. Yes, Teach will be in my house. And I think that's one of the hard parts is that if you think that somehow there exists this place in which is like this idyllic place in which everyone gets along and all problems are reasonably and amicably worked out and everyone's better at the end, it's just like it just doesn't exist. I would like it to exist. I would like to pretend that I am someone that could live in that land and be a person of that proper repute, but I don't think I am. People are people. It's only a communist utopia that exists like that. It's only utopia. It's not reality. And so I think that one of the problems here is that you go into this and you've developed a picture of what should exist, and then you see what does exist, and you feel really sad about it. And I feel for this guy. I do. I actually feel for the guy writing this, because he obviously wants to find a community. He wants to be a part of something. I I think it's easy to dunk on him, but I don't want to dunk on him, right? Like, I think some of his concepts are kind of silly, which is especially like around like the justice versus revenge. He most certainly believes in justice. Everyone believes in justice. Okay. Here, again. How are people so weird? Dude, when did you lose your virginity? Dude, when did you lose your virginity? Just tell me, when did you lose your virginity? 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 Or possibly someone else. Just tell me the age at which you touched your penis for the first time. Dude, tell me at what age you lost your virginity. I would like to get informed about the age at which you lost your virginity. When did you lose your virginity? Just a simple question, bro. At what age? Would you tell me? So I would like to say he's actually trolling me super hard, and this is hilarious. But I can't actually tell. Oh, you know what? Let's give him a shot. Bring him back in. Bring him back in. Bring him back in. Bring him back in. Short, what are you doing? What are you doing? You got to lay it down here. Let us know. Short, just let us know. What's going on? We're giving you one more swing here. We're giving you a swing. Bring it in. Bring it in. Won't you tell me? Oh, damn. Okay, I gave him a shot. 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 Respect for the commitment. Okay? Respect for the commitment. But you out. All right? Respect, but you out. Well, that was the craziest moment of my life. That could be that was crazy. Let's see. Let's do a little marker. Short. Virgin loss? He commented 3 times in January, then today. Virginity loss? Dude. What a wild one. All right. Also, the end of this article. Hey, don't dunk on the guy. Obviously, he's hurting. Obviously, things are going on. I don't think Alex M is some mastermind bad guy. I think he just got kind of upset at this community member. Maybe you should have just rebased, avoided the drama. You should know that people that are that intense are usually out, and they're going to cause some issues. You know what I mean? And so it's pretty good to know to follow through. You know what I mean? Just follow through. Avoid the whole issue to begin with. Generally, I feel bad because I had no idea what this article was about, but man, this was not what I was expecting. All right, so this should be called the Vlang Drama? I'm not even sure what to call this. You want me to do an update? You want an update? Okay, this is really long. I appreciate that. But I don't think I can do this. You know what I mean? I'm not really sure. This is a different article altogether. This is like Vlang article, okay? That's a Vlang article. All right, hey, the name, the Primogen.